This is insane. This one weapon is outperforming all other weapons inside PvP currently, and I wanted to bring you a PSA video as soon as possible so you can know what weapons to use if you're trying to play the new Trials of Osiris rework that Bungie has just launched. It's a lot of fun. Everyone gets to go to the lighthouse. All you have to do is just win 7 games. Doesn't matter how many you lose along the way. And if you're trying to get there, the best weapon of all is clearly the Redrix S-Stock. This thing has 3.1 million kills this weekend in Trials, and that is more than double the second weapon. So clearly a solid outlier in the current Crucible meta. This weapon stands out so much stronger than all the other weapons. So no matter what you were using this weekend, if you were shot by it a bunch, you now know which weapon to grind for. You might be wondering, how do I get this weapon? All you have to do is go into the comp playlist and finish 7 matches. Once you finish 7 matches, you'll get a curated role dropped for you, and that role in and of itself is actually pretty good. You could just use that one, and if you want to continue to play more, you can get more randomized rolls of it. And so that choice is entirely yours if you want to grind for the god roll of Redrix. But the curated role is honestly good enough, and I think that out of the 3.1 million kills, like at least 90% of those people are just using the curated one because it's that solid of a weapon overall. It has some good perks on it built in already. And the second most used weapon is the Outbreak Perfected at 1.3 million kills, like we talked about, half as many. So if you don't have a Redrix, I would recommend, maybe go into comp. If you really want to win in Trials, go into comp. If not, you can slap on the Outbreak Perfected. Nothing wrong with that. The third most used weapon is the Exalted Truth. Obviously, this is the reprised weapon brought back. It has some excellent perks for PvP, so a lot of people grinding for the god roll, and then as soon as they get it from the lighthouse chest, they're obviously taking it back into the playlist, so not too many surprises there. It's obviously going to be a weapon I think that's used maybe more due to popularity in regards to it coming back. We'll see if it actually stands in the top 10 in the top 3 spot here for the entire duration of Heresy. But right now, S-Stock is really powerful, and we'll have to see if Bungie is going to decide to nerf it. I wonder if it's enough of an outlier that it's warranting or deserving of a nerf. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think that this weapon is almost oppressive to the current sandbox inside Trials? The number 4 weapon goes to the Igneous Hammer. So we got that 120 RPM. This is a weapon you get, of course, from grinding Trials of Osiris. And this one has almost 1 million kills this weekend. Really powerful weapon. I see a lot of people using this. The Rose is in there. Obviously, this was a god roll that Bungie handed out to everyone due to the weight gate controversy where the perks were being weighted improperly. And the Rose was one of those weapons that was affected if you were trying to grind for the god roll in comp. And so Bungie, as an apology, gave everyone a god roll of this weapon. It's available at Banshee if you haven't already grabbed it. So this is an easily accessible, good weapon, top 5 weapon right now. If you're out there and you're like a new player and you're wondering like, well, what should I use as a new player? Or maybe if you're not especially proficient inside PvP and you're like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot and go inside Trials. These are some options for you. Outbreak is a good one. Rose is a good one. Everyone has access to these weapons. They're pretty easy to get. Right now, though, I should mention that the Outbreak mission is bugged, so if you've never gotten Outbreak before, you might be wondering, how do I unlock this weapon? Bungie had to disable it because it had a crazy bug, so if you've never unlocked it before, you won't be able to get it at this time. You'll have to wait until Bungie fixes the exotic mission. The number 6 weapon goes to the BXR Battler, so that's an excellent pulse rifle, and will have similar sort of playstyle to the Redrix, I suppose. The number 7 weapon goes to the Kvastav, so you got the first auto rifle in the top 10, and this is definitely a top pick and a really solid weapon overall. And the number 8 weapon is going to go to the regular Exalted Truth, the unadept version of this weapon. The number 9 weapon goes to the Criminal's Dagger, my personal favorite, the one that I was using this weekend. I really enjoyed the Criminals, and very solid weapon to use overall. And the number 10 spot goes to the Aisha's Care pulse rifle. And as far as classes go, we're going to see the most popular and least popular Titan Hunter and Warlock, and then all the different 5 affinities that we have here. We've got obviously Stasis, Strand, Solar, Arc, and Void, and X6 is the Prismatic now as well. So you can see all the different classes right here. You've got, for the most popular class this weekend is Hunters at 39%, Titans at 31%, and Warlocks at 29%. The Void Hunter is the most popular class choice right now, with the Prismatic Hunter in 2nd place, and then afterwards it kind of falls off from there. The Titans have Arc Titans as number 1. I mentioned my build. If you haven't seen my build, make sure to check that out because it is definitely solid. And then the number 2 goes to Prismatic Titans, and then afterwards it kind of falls off from Void Titans and beyond. And then for the Warlocks out there, Solar Warlock is the most popular choice, followed by Prismatic Warlock, and then again after that the popularity kind of falls off overall. So Prismatic being the number 2 spot overall for each selection. For exotic armor, Hunters, the most used exotic armor is still Stompies. Hunters still using Stompies, even after everything that's happened. And then number 2 is Ophidian Aspect for the Warlocks, Transversive for the Warlocks, and then Dune Marchers for Titan at 6.2%. That was my exotic of choice, although I should say that Cythans can be kind of dirty if you're using that Bolt Charge build like I talked about. And then you've got One-Eyed Mask, Knucklehead Radar, Radiant Dance Machines. Obviously, they had to be adjusted for Last Word and DMT. Otherwise, Radiant Dance Machines would be number 1. And DMT and Last Word would be number 1 and number 2 this weekend if Bungie didn't remove the RDM functionality from those 2 exotics, because that was definitely a crazy one. Lastly, we're going to give you a breakdown of the top 30 weapons and for each slot. So top 10 kinetic, top 10 energy, and top 10 power weapons. This will really help you as you create synergies for trials in future weekends. So you're going to see some repeat entries, but of course we're expanding beyond the top 10 and we're going even deeper to top 30 basically. So for number 1 in top kinetic, obviously Redrix, number 2 Outbreak still, number 3 went to Rose, 4 Kvostov, 5 Criminal's Dagger, and 6 Aisha's Care. Number 7 this weekend for kinetics, if you wanted something a little off meta or outside the top 10, we had Jade Rabbit, followed up by the Deadlock and Conditional Finality, and then Ace of Spades overall were the top 10 kinetic weapons. For the energy slot, we had Exalted Truth, we talked about, Igneous Hammer, the Battler, the regular Exalted Truth, and then the number 1 most used energy shotgun went to the Matador 64, so definitely a strong shotgun even still after all these years. Then we have the Prophet of Doom, we have Scavenger's Fate, Zealot's Reward, Graviton Lance, and number 10 goes to the Shire's Wrath SMG. Now for heavy weapons, we have the Cataphract GL3 Adept at 20% usage, the Hammerhead at 19%, and then the Hammerhead again at 16%. I think it comes in the API twice, maybe due to the Into the Light event. Maybe there's like the shiny version and the non-shiny version. I'm not exactly sure why there's 2 entries of Hammerhead, but if you were to add it up together, that's what, 35%? So it's definitely the number 1 most used weapon. That Hammerhead can roll with double damage perks. I believe it's Rampage and Killing Tally, and it's the one that I use, and it is so lethal, so good in PvP. I highly recommend that. The number 4 slot went to Commemoration, then Watchful Eye, Thunderlord, the regular Cataphract GL3, and then the other half sword, the Unwavering Duty, and the Wendigo GL3, rounding off your top 10 for power. So there it is. Those are the meta weapons for week 1 after this massive trial rework. However, we should keep in mind that the meta shifts with time as Bungie adjusts different things in the game, as they buff and nerf certain weapons, certain archetypes, certain perks that go on certain weapons, certain subclasses. So we'll continuously bring you an update of what the meta is. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications on if you want to stay in the know in all things Destiny 2. That's a wrap on this one though. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.